Namaskar. At the very outset, I welcome you all on behalf of the International Vedanta Society. And today we are here to discuss the topic self realization through selfless work. Now, we know that we have been discussing all these sessions that the goal or aim of human life is God realization or self realization. And there are various ways to approach this truth. The same truth is approached by various means. We, at times, due to our ignorance, we consider this means to be the main thing and we fight over them. That is out of sheer ignorance. The path which we adopt is not so important compared to the goal. What is most important is the goal. I see my friends from all over the world joining in, Meili and Mirama, Yuri from USA, Mirama from Indonesia, and Meili from Hong Kong. You are all from Singapore. You are all joining in. A very warm welcome to you all and a very good evening. Bagus from Indonesia, welcome. I welcome you all. So we are here to discuss the topic that self-realization through selfless work. Now, as I was saying, that the goal of human life we know is God realization or self-realization. Know thyself. In the Upanishads it has been said, Atmanam Vidhi, know yourself. This knowing myself or self-realization, God realization, these are all the same thing. So, the goal is God realization or self realization. But we, at times, out of our ignorance, we consider the path to be the main and we quarrel over them, and that is just out of sheer ignorance. We must keep in mind the goal, what we are here for. We are here to achieve the goal, God realization, in whatsoever way. We may adopt any means. That is not so important. What really matters is that whether I have achieved my goal, whether I have achieved the aim. We are like those who quarrel over the basket and lose the mangoes. What is important is the mangoes. The mangoes are important, not the basket, but we quarrel over the basket and we forget about the mangoes and we lose them. So we must not be such ignorant fools. At least we are not. We know that whatever means we adopt, whether it is the path of knowledge, that is the Jnana Yoga, whether it is the path of devotion, the Bhakti Yoga, whether it is the path of selfless action or selfless work, as is our topic today, that is Karma Yoga, or it is the path of Raj Yoga, it hardly matters. What matters is whether I have achieved the goal, whether I have achieved God realization, whether I have attained God realization. So, today's topic, that self-realization through selfless work, nowadays, or it has been also in the earlier days, we have seen that people consider themselves to be a karma yogi. That is, they say that we don't, follow the path of devotion or the path of knowledge, but we follow the path of action. We are karma yogi, they say. Okay, so we hear it, and it is very popular that okay, I follow the path of karma, I follow the path of selfless action. But remember one thing, that it is really very hard to be a real karma yogi. Why? Because when we do something, we become the doer. And the moment we become the doer, we are away from the goal. Yes, of course, at the beginning we will be having these problems, though it is said that you are not the doer. It has been time and again said, and that is the most important thing of, or the most important aspect of karma yoga, of selfless action or selfless work, that is not to consider myself as the doer, that I am not the doer. My sense organs and my working organs, they are working according to their own nature, and I am not the doer. I am just the witness. But it is easier said than done, because unknowingly, unknown to myself, I even don't know when this subtle thought that I am the doer, this comes in me, and unknown to myself, I become the doer, which is the greatest hindrance in the path of selfless action or selfless work. Because the goal is to know or to realize that I am not the doer, I am the observer, the witness, the unchangeable, the immutable, Atman or Brahman. I am not the doer. The moment I become the doer, I enchain myself in the fruits of those actions. Because if I am the doer, then I will get the fruit of actions. When I am not the doer anymore, no fruit of actions, whether good or bad, can enchain me, can bind me down, because I am not the doer. So, this is the goal in every path. But when we are discussing about the path of selfless work, then our goal is to go on carrying out our works, because we cannot stay without action even for a moment. It has been very clearly said in the Srimad Bhagavad Gita that one can never stay without any action even for a moment. Okay, I think I will be giving up everything, I will not be doing anything, I will totally detach myself from any sort of actions, but then I have to eat to survive, that is an action. Okay, forget eating, I have to breathe to survive, that is also an action. So no one can live without action. So I have to work. But then what is the secret of working? How to do the work? Because though, as I said, it's very popular, I don't believe in, in these logical things, in the path of knowledge or the path of devotion. I am not for that. I am a karma yogi. I believe in action, be good, do good. It's easier to say. It's very easy to say. But as I said, unknowingly we become the doer and we lose the main thing of selfless action. Just let us take an example. For example, I help someone. I am using this word help, but later on we will see that actually we cannot help. However, initially allow me to use the word help. So, for example, there is a poor person on the street. I see him, and out of love or whatever comes to my mind, out of a kind act, I give him 50 rupees. I give him 50 rupees, and I tell, okay, you please go and have a good food, have a good meal, and okay, you have some substantial things so that you can fill up your stomach and feel nice. The person becomes very happy, and I think, okay, it is a service. What I've done is a service, it's a good thing. Okay, fine, that's very good indeed. And I go away with a big satisfaction in my mind, because whenever you do good work, you get satisfaction. So I go. The next day, I happen to meet the same person, and he does not recognize me. He does not give a smile. And I look at him. Even after looking at him, and even after he seeing me, he does not react, or he does not reciprocate to my expectations that at least he will give a nod or give a smile acknowledging my kind act which I did yesterday, but he doesn't. That very moment, a feeling will come in me. You just forgot. Yesterday I helped you with 50 rupees, and it was due to me that you could have a full stomach. You got a good food. And today you forget. This is very common, which perhaps every one of us have come across. We have faced these situations. Helping someone, and then when the person does not acknowledge with something, at least with a smile, we get annoyed. And we think, oh, how unfair. He must at least smile at seeing me, or at least acknowledge me. How are you? It was very kind of you. Why does it happen? Because unknowingly I become the doer. And as I become the doer, a pride and the ego plays in me that I have helped you, so you must at least acknowledge that yes, you know me and you remember my act of kindness. So there I get my negative markings. And that is why the path of action, or the karma yoga, the realization of the self or self-realization through selfless work, is so, as it is said, it's like walking on the edge of the razor. Just a slip here and there, you fall. Because this, after doing, we don't look back. It happens very rarely. It happens very rarely. We always expect after doing something, and that then my ego, it comes up, and we don't even know when it comes up. At times we must have seen a big tree, cut from the just from the roots. It has been cut, and it is lying just by the road or somewhere in a field, and it has no connection with the soil whatsoever. It doesn't get any water, or it cannot extract any food from the soil because it's just totally cut from the root. But still then you will see that after 1 or 2 days or 3 days, new leaves are coming up from the branches or from the trunk of the tree, even though it has got no connection with the roots, even though it is totally disconnected with the soil and does not get any food from the soil, still you see the small buds coming up with fine and beautiful leaves. Our ego is like that. Even after cutting, that means even after realization also at times, they come. That is what we call the ignorance of vidya. Vidya maya, we say. Out of which the self-realized person, they work for the welfare of mankind. But okay, that is for the welfare of mankind. But when we approach the truth, or when we try to approach the truth, we at times think, okay, I'm fine, now I don't have any ego and it's so beautiful and I am almost perfect. But I don't even know when these small buds, they come up. It is so subtle. It is so subtle. So, and we must also know that the discrimination, or how to differentiate work, whether it is really a selfless action or a selfless work or not, it is very hard. The Srimad Bhagavad Gita stands as an unparalleled example of Karma Yoga. And there Sri Krishna himself says that it is really very, very complicated to discriminate work from a good work, or a work which leads you to liberation, which leads you to salvation, which leads you to self-realization, from a work which binds you more and more in this world. We are doing something and we are thinking that, okay, it is a very good work and it is helping me. But suppose, what we do at times, like we help the poor, we help the downtrodden, we give blankets, we give food packets, we do these and that. And we think, okay, this is, very fine, and this is very good act, and this is going to purify us. Of course, they are meant for the purification of the mind. Chitta Shuddhi, what is being said as Chitta Shuddhi, that is the purification of mind. But actually what happens? This is a very practical example you will see. Suppose there is a news in the newspaper. Suppose 20 of us, we get together and we come together and we come for a noble cause, helping for some, a cause, coming for a good cause, helping the victims of maybe a storm or something, a earthquake or whatever it is. Even maybe this corona pandemic, we are trying to help, and okay, we 20 people, we come together, 20 friends of ours, we come together and we do it. And we think, okay, now this is a very good act, and this is also going to purify us and make us fit for self-realization. It is purifying our minds. And maybe after 2 days, a news comes out in the local newspaper that these few boys and girls, they have gathered together and they have helped the people, and we are very happy. But when I go through the news item in the newspaper and I find that there are many names of my friends, but my name did not come up in the news, I feel sad. That means, though that work was meant for the benefit of others and also at the same time for my purification of the mind, but what did I see? That actually it increased my ego. The moment I saw that people are praising others and not me, though I was also there and I contributed equally, maybe even more than others, and my name did not come up in the news, or people are not speaking about me, I feel sad. Suddenly I feel there is no sense of doing all these works. This comes because of the ego, because of the ignorance. So it is very hard. So these, instead of purifying my mind, what did it do? It put a chain, one more chain on my legs. I get more and more bondage. So it is very hard to discriminate what is a real work, selfless work, which purifies us and makes us fit, makes us ready to realize the self, and what is just an opposite work which makes us bind or cling to this world more and more. It is very difficult to say what is karma and what is akarma. Karma means that which will lead us to salvation, and akarma means. Okay, welcome back. We are back. We got disconnected and Facebook, and we are now right at this moment back with both of these, YouTube and Facebook. So it is very hard to discriminate. It is very hard to say which work is actually making me ready or making me fit for self-realization, and one which is taking away me from self-realization. And at times even we feel, we even feel ourselves, or we have heard many say that, okay, we are not doing it for ourselves, we are doing it for the benefit of others, and we are doing it for welfare and all these things. But at the end of the day, when we come to know the truth, we see that each and every act of ours which we have done, which we have thought to be really selfless work, were actually meant for my own self. Not in the sense what we regard as self, but for my own salvation, for my own purification, for my own satisfaction. Suppose, a poor man approaches someone and goes to him and begs for something, some food or some money, and that person just hoots him out, come on, get out. You don't have any work and you are here to beg. We have seen these things. And then he comes to me and I take very good care of him, give him 50 rupees or 100 rupees or whatever is there with me, whatever I can afford, and I serve him in the best possible way. So, did I actually help him? Others will say, and at times maybe I also feel that, okay, I have helped him. Actually, it is not that I wanted to help him. It is for my own sake that I did this act, because I got a satisfaction after doing that work. If the other person also would have got the same satisfaction, then you would have done that. But he got the satisfaction in just turning him down, just go away. By turning him down, he got that satisfaction or whatever he wanted. And what did I get after doing this act of, whatever you may say, helping act or act of kindness, whatever we may say, but later on we will see that these are not actually act of kindness, because these are meant for ourselves. Because after feeding that man or after helping that man, I got a satisfaction, and it is due to that satisfaction, due to that reason that I did that, because I felt a satisfaction in myself. So it is always subjective. The subject is me, not that person. When I can understand these subtle aspects of selfless work, then I will see that actually I am not to expect anything from the person in front of me whom I am so called helping that person, or for this act of mine. I am not to expect anything from him. On the other hand, I must thank that person again and again that he has given me the opportunity to manifest the hidden virtues in me, to manifest that divinity which has so long in me been potential and has been covered. That person has given me the opportunity to unveil that divinity and let the divinity manifest. So I am to thank that person and not expect him to thank me. So if we can catch hold of these subtle aspects of selfless work, then we will see that it is not actually selfless work, it is a subjective work. And the subject is me. The person in front of me provided me an opportunity to manifest the hidden virtues, the potential divinity. And so I must thank him. So it is just the other way around. Normally what we think, that when I am helping someone, he will accept the thing with his head down, with his head bowed down. This is what we see. But it is said, Swami Vivekananda said beautifully, that when you give something to someone, kneel down before that person and bend your head while giving, because express your gratitude to him. Express your gratitude that you have given me the opportunity to manifest the hidden or benevolent virtues in me. So I am grateful. Be grateful to him, and don't expect him to be grateful to you. Because, wonderfully said by Swami Vivekananda, do you think that even an ant is wanting your help? It needs your help. You cannot even help an ant. If you are not there, someone will be there to help it. So you are not the criteria. You are not the person who are helping. The moment you think that you are helping, you are wrong. Remember, even an ant does not need my help. So forget about any person. Vedanta says that everything is divine, everything is the Lord himself. Do you expect to help the Lord? Do you think that you are helping the Lord? You can serve him. You can worship him. This must be our attitude. That I am not helping anyone. You cannot help the Lord. Sorry. There's a beautiful incident, which happened with Sri Ramakrishna and Swami Vivekananda. Then Narendranath Datta, he was there. And Sri Ramakrishna was talking about Chaitanya Dev, God incarnate Chaitanya Dev, we know. So he was speaking on Chaitanya Dev and said that Chaitanya Dev said that compassion to the jiva. And saying so, uttering these words, the words said by Chaitanya Dev, that compassion to the jiva, to the individual soul, Sri Ramakrishna fell into trance. He entered into trance. And when he came out of the trance, he said, compassion? How can you show compassion to the Lord? Because every individual soul is verily the Supreme Self. So, how can you show compassion to the Supreme? How can you help the Supreme? How can you show compassion to the Supreme Lord? It is not possible. So, Ramakrishna said, not compassion, but service. Service to the Lord. So, Sri Ramakrishna, we know, it will be wrong if I say we know, we have heard that Sri Ramakrishna was a God incarnate, and similarly Chaitanya Dev also was a God incarnate. So Chaitanya Dev said compassion to Jiva. Sri Ramakrishna rectified it, modified it, and what did he say? Not compassion, but service. Service to Lord. I remember Bhagavan telling a beautiful thing. Sri Ramakrishna spoke about, or he modified the saying of another God incarnate, Chaitanya Dev, and Bhagavan said about this, that suppose, for example, let us take that I have a wound in my hand suddenly, and I have cut my finger, or maybe I have cut my hand, and then when I cut my hand and it is bleeding, I apply some ointment on my hand in order to stop the bleeding. And if suddenly someone comes and asks me, Swamiji, what are you doing? What will I say? That I am serving? Will I say that this is a service? I am serving myself. I am applying ointment on my hand because I love myself. It is out of love that I am doing this. So it is not even service, it is love. Love for the Supreme, love for the Lord. So when I am doing a good act, so-called what we say helping someone, remember, neither it is a help because you cannot help the Lord. It is not compassion because you cannot be compassionate to the compassionate who is the embodiment of compassionate. You cannot be compassionate to him because he is the embodiment of compassionate. Out of him comes compassion. It is because that he is the embodiment of compassion that we have compassion in us. It is from him that we get this compassion. So we cannot show compassion to the ever compassionate one. Neither it is service. Bhagavan modified that and he said, it is love. When I realize myself in this way, that it is me reflected in various forms and names in this entire universe, then how can I serve others? I can only love. So it is love. And out of that love, when a mother feeds the child, is that her compassion or her service? Neither. It's out of love. Similarly, whatever we do, the ultimate thing is the love. So our real selfless work brings us to this very place that it is neither help nor compassion nor service. Actually, it is love for the Supreme, that which we call as selfless work. And always remember that even an ant is not waiting for us or for our help. So don't ever think that you are there to help someone. And if you ever can do something good to someone, be grateful to that person. Why? Because he has helped you to manifest the good things in you. He has helped you to manifest. And it is He who allows you to work. He has given you the opportunity. If it was not you, it would have been someone else. Did not the world go on when I was not born? It went on fine, smoothly. And it will go on nicely when I am not there. When I will not be there, it will go on smoothly. No one will wait for me for anything of mine. None. So it is an opportunity given by the divine. So be thankful. Be thankful. And always remember, look at yourself, whether the ego has come up or not. Because, if there is a thief outside my house who steals in my house, who comes from outside and steals in my house, I can catch hold of that thief. But if the thief is very much within my house, if he lives in my house, if he lives with me, it is very hard to catch the thief. Similarly, here, the thief who is stealing is within me. It is my mind, my ego, which is stealing. So it is very hard to catch hold. So always be aware and look at yourself that after doing any work, do I look for the name and fame? It is very hard. Name and fame is the last hurdle of the noble mind. Even the noble souls, they get infected with this disease. It is very hard. Really very hard. It is not so easy. Because as I said, after doing something, I feel myself to be the doer. The moment I feel myself to be the doer, everything along with it will come. If now when we do blood test or blood examination, the person who comes from the laboratory, he does not take all the blood from me. He just takes a small syringe of blood. That's it. That's sufficient. At times, just one drop of blood is sufficient to make out the whole thing, the whole chemistry of blood. It is sufficient, just one drop. So even if there is a drop of ego, it is sufficient to have all the infections with it. Name, fame, whatever you name it, just. So always be careful that whether after doing the work, are you waiting eagerly to know the results? If yes, then I'm sorry, it is not. I have not become perfect, or it has not been a perfect selfless work. There was a very beautiful incident with us. There are many, but suddenly I it came across my mind that when we were when we were in 56B with Bhagwan, then we did all this. Still, we do now all kinds of welfare activities, though it is not the main part of the International Vedanta Society, though it is not the main act of International Vedanta Society or the main aim of the International Vedanta Society, but still we do all these activities, like providing woolen blankets in winter, food grains to the downtrodden, or providing study materials to the poor students and all these things. But these, again I say, though we do all these sorts of activities all throughout the year, but this is not the main aim of the International Vedanta Society. The main aim of the International Vedanta Society is God realization or self-realization, and to preach this message of Vedanta, that we in our real nature, we are divine, ever free, ever divine, pure. We are verily Atman or Brahman. This is the main aim of the International Vedanta Society. That there is God or Atman or Brahman or whatever you say, consciousness, knowledge, supreme, whatever you say, it's all different names of the same truth, So there is God or truth or self or Brahman, and he can be realized. In this very birth, he can be realized. This is the aim of the International Vedanta Society. This is the say of the proclamation of the International Vedanta Society. But as I said that, you need self-purification, you need the purification of mind, the cleansing of mind, and for that we have these discussions, we have classes on Vedanta, we have the chanting, we have all sort of spiritual activities, and also such welfare activities which we carry out throughout the year. So we have been doing this right from the origin of the International Vedanta Society. So it was the incident I am referring to was in 56B, the famous quarter of Bhagwan, where International Vedanta Society took its birth, So the famous 56B East Goshala Maligaon, Guwahati, Assam. So which is now a pilgrimage, for many aspirants who come from all over the world to have a look at that railway quarters, small railway quarters of Bhagwan, which was the originating point and the cradle house of the International Vedanta Society, where we met Bhagwan for the first time, and International Vedanta Society took its birth. So we carried out a lot of welfare activities along with other spiritual activities from there. So there was a rickshaw puller who used to live in that place, and we used to help him, we used to serve him rather, or love him. Okay, so but in the way love him, we cannot understand that, so we have to use this word serve him or whatever we say. So, and he used to talk to us wherever we met. He used to just wave his hand or smile at us, and all these things happen. So one day Bhagwan was going to the market, and we were some of our brother disciples, and we were with him going to the market, and we had our bicycles and all those things, and Bhagwan was not feeling very good, so he wanted to have a rickshaw. So suddenly we saw that rickshaw puller. We said, "Hello, can you please, will you please take Bhagwan to the market?" But for some reason he said, "No, right now I'm unable to take him or go to the market. You please search some other rickshaw." And suddenly one of us, we said, "Did you forget? We helped you so much, and you forgot. You said no, you will not be going." And this incident happened almost like 30 years back, I'm speaking. So it was the initial days, those were the initial days with Bhagwan. So Bhagavan was there. And when he saw us speaking in that tone, in that language, he just interrupted. He said, "Hey, you did not understand what is selfless work. All your works have been undone by these few words. That did you forget? We helped you." And then we were speaking, just normally as others speak. But when he interrupted and said to us that, "Hello, what are you speaking? Whatever you have done have been undone with these words, because you are expecting of him that as you have helped him, so he is bound to reciprocate your service." No. Then that is not a selfless act. So then that act will become a bondage rather than purifying your mind. So we have to be very, very careful. Even while doing the work, and even after that, not expecting the least from it. And on the other hand, on the contrary, we must be grateful to that person who has helped us to manifest our hidden divinity. So that day, we could understand that how subtle and how beautiful Bhagavan was, We were telling about him. We were telling the rickshaw puller to take him to the market. We had our bicycles. But then he interrupted and he just pointed out that your works have been undone. So be very careful. Be very careful. And be grateful to the Supreme Lord, to the Lord, and to the person who has given you this opportunity to love Him. Be ever grateful. Don't expect anything. They have given you, you have given him 10 rupees, 20 rupees, 50 rupees meal for a day, or maybe, grocery for a month. Maximum that. And what did that person give you? If we think in terms of profit and loss, because we are, very, we are always ready to, always measure with the yardstick of profit and loss. So even if we think so, then what did we do? Maximum we gave him we gave him groceries for a month. What did he do? He gave you the opportunity to manifest the potential divinity within you. He has helped you to cleanse your mind, to purify your mind, and to get ready for salvation, liberation, God realization, or self-realization. So even if we weigh in the weighing measure, of profit and loss, we will see that we can, throughout our life, cannot repay that. Cannot repay that person. He has given you the chance. He has given you the opportunity to get you ready for God realization. What did you do? Gave him a blanket? Or maybe 500 rupees? Maximum, what did you do? And what did he give you? So always stand in reverence, bowing down your head. Never expect him to bow down his head, or to acknowledge your act with a smile or with something else. On the contrary, whenever you see him, pay your reverence. that, my dear friend, you have given me the chance, the opportunity to the goal, to help myself proceed towards my goal, God realization or self realization. With this, we come to today's end of discussion, self realization through selfless work. I would now request you, if you have any questions of yours or any doubts about this topic, or maybe on any other aspect of spirituality or Vedanta, you may surely come up with your question, and I will be taking them on the first come, first served basis. I have got some questions, it's not though straightly a question, but yes, there are question marks at the end of it, so I will be seeing them one by one and I will try to address them. So the first came from Shekhar Kumar Ghosh. He says, but how is ego the Vidya Maya? This ego is not the ego of ignorance, that which comes out of ignorance. Vidya Maya is the ego which plays in the self-realized person. Even in the self-realized person there plays the ego, but that ego is not his. It has been kept by the Supreme or given to him by the Supreme, because without this Vidya Maya you cannot work. If you are totally out of ego, if you don't have any Maya in yourself, if you don't have any duality in yourself, then you cannot act, you cannot work. When you see everything as the Lord, you cannot work. What will you do for the Lord? Is He waiting for your help? So, activity is only possible till the moment I see duality. Else the Guru cannot teach the disciple. He must have this sense of duality, although it may be very subtle, but still he must have that sense of duality. When he has the sense of oneness, when he goes into samadhi, there is no teaching, because he does not see any disciple, because he is not the Guru then. When he becomes one, when he is one with the Supreme Self, then where is the Guru and where is the disciple? So there is no question of Guru or any disciple. So there is no question of any teaching. There is no question of any liberation. There is no question of any helping someone. So it is due to the Vidya Maya that the self-realized person sees these differences and acts accordingly. Though he knows very well that beneath all these differences there is one underlying oneness, which is the Supreme Self. So this is known as Vidya Maya. Vidya Maya only acts in self-realized persons such as Swami Vivekananda or Acharya Shankar, Adi Shankaracharya. It is with the help of this Vidya Maya that they preached this message of Vedanta, or that spiritual stalwarts act for the welfare of mankind. So that ego is not the ego of ours, what we have. That ego and this ego of Vidya Maya is different. They are not the same thing. Thank you, Mr. Shekhar Kumar Ghosh ji. There is another question from Sri Shekhar Kumar Ghosh, that so ego is the problem, then how to divide this ego? Ego is the problem, of course. We think our problems to be some other person or some other thing, some situation or some circumstances. No. The actual problem is me, my ego. As beautifully said by Sri Ramakrishna, the biggest trouble or the main trouble or the trouble is you yourself. It is you yourself. Just yesterday we were uh, talking, Bhagavan was talking with us yesterday night, and we were having a very good discussion, and he was talking of Raman Maharshi. He is very fond of Raman Maharshi. We all actually are, because the knowledge of Raman Maharshi, or the way he preached, he actually did not preach, but he just talked, he spoke, but the way he said things, they were just beautiful. So there was one person who came and who was, very sad because his wife died, and he said that he was going on saying that it's very hard, that your wife will die, your mother will die, father will die. So many shocks or so many sorrows you have to bear, you have to tolerate so many sorrows. So what is the way? What is the way out? Raman Maharshi said in a beautiful way, you die yourself. Die first. If you die first, then you will have no sorrows. That person was taken aback. Means I have to commit suicide. No. Die first means this ego which feels this sorrow, which feels these problems, which feels these differences, which springs out of ignorance. If you can remove that ego, that I, that ignorant I, or that little I, then you will get devoid of all your troubles and all your problems. How to do it? You have to have God realization. You have to have self-realization. You have to know the truth. You must have to immerse your mind in samadhi. Without samadhi, without God realization, without self-realization, you cannot get out of the hands or the clutches from ego or this ignorant I or little I, whatever you say. So you must have God realization, self-realization. That is the only way, as is said in the Upanishads, Nanya Pantha Vidyate Ayanaya. There is no other way to get out of this trouble. There is no other way. So, in order to emancipate this ego or this little I, you have to hear about the Supreme Self, the Supreme I. You have to hear about it. You have to reflect on it. You have to meditate on it. And in the depths of meditation, in the depths of contemplation, you have to immerse in samadhi. You have to go in samadhi. You have to attain samadhi. And only then can you get out from the clutches of this little I or ego. Thank you, Shekharji. Is it possible in everyday life? Yes, of course. Of course it is possible. That is what is the proclamation of the International Vedanta Society, as I said, that there is God or Self or Brahman or Atman, whatever you say, and we can realize Him in this very birth of ours, in our day-to-day life. We have seen Bhagavan, very closely. I have been seeing Him for the last 32 years. When we went to Him, we did not address Him as Bhagavan. We addressed Him as uncle, Kaku. And from there we have seen that how He in His day-to-day life, apparently now we can at least have a inkling, that yes, He is not something, normal or just a spiritual person or a self-realized person. He is something much, much, much beyond than that, by whose grace or by whose touch or by whose mere wish one can have God realization. But we saw him very closely, just like any other apparently ordinary person. We Now I am a sannyasi, but I was just like, I am still just like any other person. Yes, I have been hearing about this Vedanta, I have been practicing this, cultivating this knowledge of Vedanta, hearing from Bhagwan. I have heard from him, I have learned from him. Whatever realization I had from him. Yes, for the last 32 years. But everyone can have this. If you wish, you can also listen to Vedanta every day. We have so many books, you can go through them every day. So this is very much possible in our day-to-day life, wherever we are, whoever we are. Just we have to have this earnestness, this thirst to know the truth. We have to have this. Once Bhagwan wrote to his guru, to his master, to his teacher, Swami Pavitranandaji. He wrote to Swami Pavitranandaji when, after getting initiated from Swami Pavitranandaji, we know that after initiation, during the initiation, a mantra is given which you have to chant 108 times normally, or in multiple of 108. And he wrote, Bhagwan, who is now known all over the world, just not as a spiritual master, as a spiritual teacher, but by whose mere wish one can have God realization. And there have been plenty of examples all over the world. He wrote to his master, Swami Pavitranandaji, in his initial days, that I am not getting the opportunity to chant 108 times. Just imagine, 108 times he did not get the chance, the opportunity, the time, and he wrote this to his master that I am not getting the time, the sufficient time to chant 108 times. And Swami Pavitranandaji, like a real guru, he rebuked him. That I did not think that you are such a person who will blame others for his own faults. Take this blame upon yourself. Take this fault upon yourself and blame yourself. And you are telling that you are not getting sufficient time and opportunity to chant 108 times. Bhagavan rectified himself. This is the path of self-rectification. And today, innumerable persons chant his name. This is what can happen to us if we persevere, if we go on, if we have the patience, if we have the purity. This can happen. So this is very much possible in this very life by us, by each and every individual, if one wishes so. That is the main thing. Do you wish to know yourself? Do you wish to know the truth? And how much earnestness do you have? Okay, if I have, it is okay. If I don't have, okay. Then it will not come. Then it is not going to happen. You must have the real thirst, the real earnestness, the real seeking in you. And then when you have this, then nothing is a problem. Nothing is a hindrance in your path. Nobody can bind you down if you have that earnestness. And if you don't have that earnestness, anything can bind you down. Anything can bind you. So what really matters is my earnestness, my real thirst for seeking the truth. This is possible by each and everyone. And that has been the proclamation of the International Vedanta Society for the last 32 years. Many, many people have realized, have had God realizations, and realizations of different levels, leading a so-called ordinary life, a normal life. So it is possible by each and every one. There is a question by Yuri from USA that Swamiji, can you explain power? How does come about? Both in and outside of spirituality, what are the causes of its manifestations? It's a good question, but Yuri, I'm sorry, we are out of time, so I will be taking this question if you put it in the next class, perhaps, because we are already 6 minutes out, but still let me see. If I will try to let me see if I can explain you in a nutshell, if I can reply you in a nutshell. In fact, Swamiji, can you explain power? How does come about, both in and outside of spirituality? Power, the spiritual power is something which comes due to your austerity. You're listening about the self, you're meditating, you're reflecting, you're chanting, whatever austerity one is following. That is what you have when this grows bit by bit, and the aspirant can understand it. The aspirant can feel it. You can feel it when this power comes in you. You can feel it. You may not feel it in the initial stages, but when it comes, when it accumulates a bit, you can feel it. That is what is known as spiritual power. And even when it grows, you can feel it more and more. But at times, these powers can itself become a hindrance in your path if you don't redirect it to the goal. Because then you can see, that okay, you wish something and that happens, and you become very ecstatic. Okay, I thought this and this happened. Oh, that's very great, and you begin doing this. This creates hindrance in your path of self-realization, and that is why you have to be very pinpointed, directed. The goal, single goal, self-realization, God-realization. And when that happens, as I said, what do you want? As said by Bhagavan very nicely, it is not the scriptures, not the guru, nor anyone else. Ask your mind, inquire of your mind, oh my mind, what do you desire? What do you wish? Do you wish power? Do you wish spiritual power? There are various kinds of spiritual power. You can have the spiritual power of doing some so-called miracles, but this will be a great, great hindrance and a great obstacle in your path of realization. But if you redirect it and keep your focus on the mainstream, the main goal, that my goal is God realization, then there will not be any obstacle, because your goal is God realization. And then one can, after attaining God realization, one can have the power of, helping others in this path. But that's, of course, a later stage. You have to be appointed by the divine, else you cannot. One cannot become a guru by himself or herself. He or she is either appointed by his or her guru or by the divine. He is appointed. Like when you get job in some company, in any company, whether it is reputed or not, it's a very big company or a small company, hardly matters. But you have to get an appointment letter. You have to get it. Similarly, you cannot just walk in and take a seat because there are free chairs. You can just go and sit and take the files and work. No. You must have that letter, one letter at least, which is the proof that you have been appointed as a officer or a worker or whatever it is in that office. Similarly, in this path also, you must have that letter of appointment, but there is no hard copy of it. There is only a soft copy which comes with it. The soft copy is not on your laptop or computer or even on your phone. You feel it, so you cannot show it. It gets expressed, manifested with the passage of time. So that power is totally a separate power, the spiritual power in the real sense. There is another spiritual power which comes with austerity, but if you go for it, then it will create a hindrance in your path. But that is also spiritual power, though not spiritual in the real sense. And that will be a great obstacle in your path. There's a very beautiful story. Let me tell you the story in a nutshell. You know that a guru, he initiated his disciple, one of his disciples, and he said, you go to the jungle, go to the woods, and you chant this mantra, okay, and you develop yourself. So he took leave of his guru and he went to the woods, and he was just passing his days with chanting and meditating and all this. And the village which was near the woods, some persons came to know that, oh, there is a sannyasi, there is a monk, there is a ascetic who is there, and they gradually began to visit him. And as people do, they come with their worries, and one of them said, my son, he is not doing well, he is falling sick, you please pray to the Lord. And he said, okay, fine. And he got cured. So this person was very delighted. He bought fruits and sweets, and this, got all over the village, to the next village, the next, and it spread like wildfire that there is an ascetic, an aspirant who can do miracles. Whatever he says, it happens. And actually, due to his austerity, this power came in him. It comes. Whatever he said, it was done. It happened. But his spiritual power, the real spiritual power, or the goal of God realization, that was no more, because with that name and fame came. This is the hindrance. Name and fame came to him, and he longed for it more and more with each and every passing day. Gradually this news reached the ears of his master, of his guru. His guru said, what have you done? So he came to that place in disguise. The disciple saw him, could not recognize because the guru was in disguise. So he said, the guru in disguise, he said to the teacher, to the aspirant who was actually his student, his disciple, said, Maharaj, in India we call them Maharaj or Swamiji or Prabhu or Babaji. There are different ways of addressing them. So he said, Maharaj, I have heard you have great miracle powers, great spiritual powers. He said, yes, I do. That is the ego, Yes, I do. Then he said, you can create, you can do whatever you wish. He said, yes. And he was in the woods, and there was an elephant going, by the way. This guru, he said, this elephant that it is going by this road, can you kill it? He said, yes. He said, can you show it to me? He said, sure. He took some dust and did a mantra, and just he put it on the elephant. The elephant died there at that very instant. And the guru was delighted, this person. Maharaj, you killed the elephant with just a mantra. He said, yes. He said, now, can you again make him alive? He said, yes, that is also possible. He said, can you please show me? He said, sure. He again took some dust and again said a mantra and again spread it on the elephant. That instant, the elephant again just came up, regained his life and just went in the woods. And then this guru who was in disguise, he said, Maharaj, you are such a powerful person. With a single mantra you killed the elephant, and with again a mantra you just brought him back to life. He said, yes, you see. Then the teacher said, but Maharaj, I have one question in my mind. Can I ask you? He said, sure, you can. Then the teacher said, Maharaj, you killed the elephant and you again brought him back to life. But what did you attain? By killing the elephant and again bringing him back to life, what did you attain? It was for the first time that the disciple heard such a question, because nobody questioned him in this way. He understood that this is no ordinary person. And he understood that this is my Guru. He came in disguise to give me a teaching. He fell at his feet and said, Master, I have done wrong. I have committed a mistake. He said, yes, what have you done? Why did I send you here for God realization? And what are you doing? Giving some person a job, curing someone from disease, making someone win in a court case. You are doing all these things. What nonsense. Why did I send you here for God realization? Come on, leave the place, leave the place. The disciple left that place for good. So this is also a spiritual power. And such spiritual powers can only be redirected to God realization by the Guru. So if this power can mislead me and take me away from God, just imagine what material power or what the worldly power can do. There is no question about it. So, this is what is spiritual power. The real spiritual power is God realization and helping others in God realization. That is it. And that is why Swami Vivekananda said that the greatest work that you can do is to liberate yourself and then help two other persons to get liberated. That is the greatest work, the real selfless work that you can do. This is the real selfless work. With this, we come to the end of this session. I, on behalf of the International Vedanta Society, thank you all for being with me in this wonderful session and make this session so beautiful. We will meet again, if everything goes well, we will meet again on next Thursday in our Bengali session. Namaskar.